Another week, another episode of Pats on Deck. Unfortunately, as the weather in the spring goes in the state of Alabama, we got 1 week on the deck last week and we're back inside today. But it's all good because we have a lot of good things with the Northwest Shoals softball team to talk about. And that's why we've got head coach Angel Brown with me today. Coach, congrats on the first two games of that Wallace State series last week. I know you wanted to get greedy and get one of those last two, but splitting a series with a conference rival like Wallace State had to be a pretty positive thing for your program last week.
It was a good week. Like you said, we wish we'd have come out, with one more on Friday. But it kind of goes back to the, wishing we had that day in between. The weather kind of got us a little bit, so the day in between did come in to play a part.
Now, last week we talked to you on game day, just a few hours before that first set with Wallace State. As a coach, is there anything that you noticed like before a game where you're like, oh, I can tell these girls are ready to play today, or on the other side, like, oh, it might be a long day, they don't look locked in. Like, can you tell some things by pregame vibes?
There are some days that I can definitely tell. This group is a little bit different. Usually, if they're a little bit, if they're quiet and they look like they're locked in, most of the time it looks like they're mad or sad about something, then usually that's going to be a good day because they're locked in and focused. But pregame went well. When we were out on the deck, they were hitting, listening to music, getting all their good feels going. So had the game day hair. We talked about that last week. They got all that going for us, and they were in a really really good mood, high spirits. They were looking forward to playing that game, and it showed for sure.
Yeah. So kind of tell me about the Thursday games. Winning those first two over Wallace State. What did you see from the girls? What were kind of some of the big moments of those games?
First of all, I just, I want to say I commend Braden Mitchell for coming in and doing what she does for us. It takes a lot for an athlete to kind of push things to the side and really focus on what you're doing. And for her, that to be the school that she transferred in from, to come out and actually, perform. She did well last year. She did even better. She got the win in game one. Shut them out, 7 innings shutout, and then she was the one that was the winning. She scored both runs in that game as well. So I actually got ejected in the sixth inning of that game, so I didn't get to see the next run that got scored. But just commending her for her being able to kind of shut the outside world out and focus on what she wants to do. Game two, fantastic. Jesse Moore threw 5 innings for us. The bats came alive in that second game, and they just handled business. So Thursday was a really good day.
Awesome. Yeah. So what was that? What's it like to be able to accomplish? Like you win game one. Like how do you kind of flip it around so quick and be like, hey, game two's about to start. Like it's 0-0. Like nothing carries over. Do you do anything, or you just kind of let the momentum roll? Like how does the team approach that?
We are one of those teams where we don't benefit from big like speeches in between.
Hmm.
We go out and we say, "Hey, great job! You did this good. You did this good. Next game, we're expecting to do this. Expect this, that type of thing." Very short, quick, to the point. We don't even after they dismiss, I say, "Hey, run to the bathroom, kiss your parents on the cheek, get back as quick as you can," and then we kind of get started. I don't even go over the lineup with them. We post it in the dugout. We don't even, get together and talk about that. So, this team does better when we handle it like that. We have tried to had those big hoorah speeches in between, and it doesn't work for the Pats. So we just have to be short and quick to the point. At this point, I tell them all the time. I said my job is to get you ready to, if something were to happen, you don't need me, and they proved that they didn't on Thursday when I got the shepherd's hook. But we Coach Birdie stepped up, finished the rest of the game for us, and they did well. And I think the energy from that happening kind of carried over into the second game. Luckily, the ejection was it was a wrongful ejection, so I didn't have to pay a fine or sit out the next game because I immediately came in here and got on the phone trying to figure out what we needed to do. But they do a really, really good job of resetting, that you've done it, let it go, move on to the next thing. So
How much so you get both games Friday, you travel over there. Wallace State wins both, but the second one is a one-run game and extra innings. It kind of it proves that this game is one of a very small inches in the grand scheme, right?
Always. And it came down to the long ball in that last game for sure. Um, JC threw a fantastic second game. She pitched, the whole game, 7.2 innings, and they had to walk it off. So they hit three long balls in the last two innings.
Hmm.
We'd beat them on one of them in particular. We'd beat her on it all week, and she finally got her hands up there and got one out of there. So, of course, that shifts some momentum, and then you have to be mentally tough to kind of bounce back from that. So, I was really proud of how the girls handled themselves after that. Very impressed with the difference between playing them last year and this year, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Well, so what's on deck this week for you guys?
Oh, this week we get to play Scrappy Sneed, is what I like to call them because they are definitely scrappy. They're a wild card. You don't really know what's going to happen when they come out, but they are athletic and they are playing really well right now.
Awesome. Well, hey, let's talk to some of your players and kind of get some of their insight and a look into how things are going.
Absolutely. I appreciate you and I apologize in advance.
All right, let's talk a little bit about last week's games. Northwest splits a four-game set with Wallace State. Happy to be joined by Braden Mitchell and Kennedy Clark today. Ladies, good job last week, especially on Thursday. So why don't y'all tell me a little bit about, especially the first day of the series, getting the doubleheader sweep over Wallace. That had to be pretty exciting.
I'd say it was pretty rewarding because we worked all season to um, beat the number one team in our conference, and so that was pretty rewarding to go out and get two in the first day. So.
Ding, ding. Bing, bing, bing. Yeah! Pump it up, pump it up, WS! Here we go, here we go. Say what? NWS! NWS across our chest, we rap, we rap. NWS across our chest, we rap, we rap. What about, what about, what about? Yeah!
Braden, what kind of tone do you think it sets for a series when you're able to take the ball in game one and throw a complete game shutout?
I think that motivated us and showed us that we could win any of the games that we played against them, and that helped fuel game two against them Thursday.
Does it like add to your stress level or take away anything? Like when you're like most people, like Kennedy, like she's just in the lineup, but there are days when you're in the lineup and you're pitching. Like, do you have a different approach when you're doing both at the same time, or do you just kind of roll with it?
I just kind of roll with it. I honestly feel like I do my best when I'm under a lot of pressure for some reason. So when I'm pitching and I'm leading off and I'm having to run back and forth and I don't have time to think, I feel like I do my best then.
Yeah. Kennedy, what was it? What's it say about this team that you guys were able to come off a disappointing weekend the week before, and then take on the challenge of your one of your conference rivals and really come away with a positive weekend.
It says a lot about our character and our drive to win. We went into the week kind of resetting, getting our goals where they need to be, and just realizing what we can control and what we can't control, and going in with confidence that we were gonna get two on Wallace or more.
All right, take me through your home run.
Well, you see, the ball was right about here, and and everybody was like, "Don't swing at that high stuff." But I just,
If it works, it works.
and yeah, it was an inside pitch. They've been getting me on it, so really threw my hips, my hands too up there.
Um, so Braden, what's it like when you see a teammate, come up big, get a big hit, get a big home run? How does that kind of energize a team, especially when you're pitching? Like that helps you out even so much more.
It honestly like releases the pressure when we get up and we do good things like that because when we do good things like Kennedy's home run, it helps build up from there and it motivates everybody to want to do better. And it usually helps us rally more in that inning and get more runs. So it takes the pressure off of me as a pitcher and as a player, it makes me happy.
Very good, very good. All right, so how do we keep it rolling? Obviously, you wish you could have gotten a third or maybe even a fourth game from that series, but all in all, a pretty solid weekend. So how do y'all kind of keep that rolling?
I think we take that feeling of losing on Friday and we really apply it to the rest of our conference games, that hunger to win. So Snead is number, are they 2 or 3?
I think 3 or 4.
Yeah, so we need a good win against them. So
All right, big series ahead. Braden, do you have any final words of wisdom for us today?
We've proved we can do it this past week, so we just got to keep building up from there and we'll see where it takes us.
All right, and the stuff that really makes everyone laugh, Braden is not going to say on camera. So
Yeah, I'm on my best behavior.
very good, very good. All right, ladies, well, good job. Keep it rolling, and thanks for the time today.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
All right, today let's get to know a little bit more about Tori Taylor. So, Tori, thanks for joining today. Tell everybody a little bit about the journey to get to Northwest. So, obviously, you were at a different Northwest, and then you were with the Patriots this year. So, kind of tell everybody a little bit about your college journey and how you ended up at Northwest and how it's going so far.
I started off at Northwest Florida State last year. I mainly was a pitcher there, but things just didn't work out. So Angel gave me an opportunity that I couldn't pass up because I've always wanted to play for her. So I'm here. The fall goes really great. The team really works well together. We all bond, we all get along. Great teammates. I couldn't ask for better best friends to spend my sophomore year with. But unfortunately, at the end of the fall, I tore my ACL, and I made the decision to redshirt and come back here for a second year. So I'll technically be a junior, but
Yeah.
excited for next year for sure.
What's something that people maybe don't realize about what it's like to, number one, be rehabbing an injury, but number two, like being part of a team that you know you're not going to get to play on this year?
Um, it's a lot on someone mentally. It was really hard for me right after I tore my ACL, but I think that a lot of the girls that I've gotten close with have helped me through that. And I know that I can go to literally anyone on the team if I ever needed anything. Um, but it's really tough to be able or to have to watch people play the game that you love and not be able to play.
Yeah. How anxious, eager, like what's the feeling like, wanting so badly to have that time where you can get back out on the field?
It really sucks actually, like having to wait, but I know that if I don't do the rehab correct, that it'll happen again. So I have to really work hard to be back on the field playing the game that I love before this upcoming fall or spring after this year. But I'm really excited to see where the team goes this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So one thing I always get people to do, tell us a little bit about your hometown, where you grew up. So kind of give us a window into growing up.
I grew up in Loxley, Alabama. I graduated from Mobile Christian High School. I'll never forget that. I love that school. Um, let's see, Loxley, there's not much there at all. I grew up, I guess, in the country hunting and fishing. So, and now I'm kind of like the same here because Florence is still the country and I live in Killen. So it's kind of the same, really.
Awesome. How far is Loxley from the beach?
Like 30 minutes.
So you can have the beach that close, but still live out in the country?
Yes.
It's a pretty good combination. All right. So, um, what kind of things is Tori interested away from softball?
Ooh, I love to travel. I still love sports. I really like basketball. Um, I like to play pickleball. I love to go out on the lake. And when I get time to go home and see my family.
But the pickleball career is on hold until we
Yes,
get healthy. But nowadays it's blowing up so much that after softball you can make a career out of it.
good if I was good. The old people are actually really good at pickleball.
It's just a window into what your future might look like 30, 40 years down the line.
That's true.
All right. Well, Tori Taylor, second year student, but she's coming back next year. So if you like the Patriots, you'll get to see her plenty in the next year and a half. So, Tori, thanks for the time. Good job today. Appreciate you.
Hello.
Hello.
I'll save the day.
Phew.